In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to use the Python module on TINspire to calculate the age. So let's look at the shell page here. I've got the time import and I'm going to get the current date. So when I do print local time, it gives me a whole lot of numbers, but I'm only interested in the first three. So the first one gives me the current year, which is 2022. Then it gives me the current month, which is January for me, and then the current date 22nd. Now I'm on the actual code that I've written. So I've imported the time module to get the local time, and then the maths module I'm going to use for some calculation. Now CD is the current date which I've stored over here. DB is date of birth from the user. So the user enters the date of birth as date, month, and year in 4 digits. Then I'm just splitting or removing the forward slash over here. After removing the forward slash, I'm going to create a list called DBS, and I'm arranging the date, the month, and the year in the list. So DBS 0 is the date, DBS 1 is the month, and so on. And now I'm defining a function over here, and the intention of defining the function is to get me the number of days between the two dates, so the current date and the user's date of birth. So the number of days are being stored as ND, and I've just taken the difference of the years, the difference of the months, and the difference of the days you would see. So y2 minus y1 is the difference of the years, and I've divided that by 1461 over 4, which is 365.25, and then I've done the same for the months. So I've written 153 over 5, which technically is 30.4, and then I've stored that as a number of days. So my second last line is the number of days, ND. And finally, in my very last line, what I'm trying to do is calculate the age. So I'm taking ND and dividing that by 365.25, and the quotient is going to give me the years. Then in my last line, where I've got ND with a percentage sign, that is giving me the remainder. So what I'm doing is taking the remainder and determining the months from there. And finally, the remainder of the remainder is actually giving me the number of days. And I've used the flow to round it. So that gives me the age. So now let's run the code. So Control R brings me to this screen. Now I'll enter a date, 10/12/1998. And it gives me the age, 23 years, 1 month, and 10 days. So I'm going to run the code again, and I'm actually going to put today's date, and it should give me 0. So 22/1/2022, 2022, and it gives me 0. Let's try another date. So I'm going to enter 22/12/2021, and it will give me a few days, 28 days. And let's go and enter the same date as today, but last year. So 22/1/2021, and it gives me the age as 1 year. So that's how age can be calculated using the Python. I'll show you an alternative method now. In this method, we are going to use the built-in syntax for calculating the number of days, which is actually a part of the TI system import. So I've got today's date, which I'm printing. CD2 is the year, CD1 is the month, and CD0 is the current date. And then of course I'm getting the user. So those are the three inputs from the user: the birth date, the birth month, and the birth year, inputting them as integers. And then I'm storing each of these values, and from here I'm sending it to actually my notes page, which I'll just bring up here now. So all this information is going to the notes page, and then the last line over there, you see it's days between days, and that's a built-in calculator syntax. So that's a calculator syntax, and I've stored it as ND, and then I'm recalling that ND value over here. That's the number of days, and then I'm making a calculation over here. So I'm getting the number of days divided by 365.25. And then in this line, I'm getting the months. I've divided it by 30.4. So I'm dividing the remainder by 30.4. And over here, I'm dividing the remainder of the remainder to get the days. And finally, I'm just printing the age as year, months, and days. So this is pretty straightforward. So let's run the code. So it's got today's date. Now I'm going to enter a date. So 11th, and let's go and enter a month, September 9, and let's go and enter a year, which is 2001. And when I run the code, it gives me the age. And let's just see all the inputs over there. And birthday, if I just click enter, it should show me the date that I had entered, and it's calculating the number of days in the last line. So now this is the entire code over here, the second method.